Kirby has eaten a lot of weird things. A cat, carbonated beverages, a 16-wheeler, this small child, and now he can eat your trinkets too. Well, that and all the other bits of garbage that you've been saving in the bottom of your drawer for the past 3 years. Hey, my name's Tomby, and this is Pottery to the Players, my series where I make pottery from video games. I'm like over a year late to Kirby in the Forgotten Land, but a friend of mine sent me his copy so I could try it out, and oh my god, it's so cute. I kinda wanna make all of the Kirby mouthfuls, but I thought I'd start with a simpler one first. Well, simpler on the pottery wheel. As soon as I saw a ringmouth Kirby, I was reminded of these chunky bubble plates that have been popular all over lately. And I thought, Kirby is about to become the plate of my dreams. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these Kirby trinket trays starting with nothing but a regular lump of clay. Let's head on over to my crafting area. Hey, look what I found. It's a regular lump of clay. But is it maybe too regular? This is a plain beige clay, but Kirby isn't beige, so how do we fix this? Well, not like that. I'm going to be adding some powdered pink pigment to match the color of our favorite world-eating puffball. Once the consistency of our clay is all evened out, it's time to add our pigment. The biggest challenge here is getting all of the color to mix evenly into the clay, so we're just going to have to keep wedging. Think of it like I'm kneading Kirby to the perfect tenderness. Now let's pull out the scale. We're going to use this to weigh out individual balls of clay so our Kirbys all turn out the same size. I'm going with about 300 grams. And once I have them measured out, I just wedge each ball a little bit to make sure there are no air bubbles. Alright, we're finally done with the prep and we can head over to the wheel. Unfortunately, I won't be eating a wheel today, but I will be sitting down at one to make my Kirbys. Once I've smacked my clay down onto the wheel, it's time to center the clay. I push up and down on the clay until there's no wobble left and it barely even looks like it's moving anymore. Next, I'm going to start to gently push the clay outwards to form the base and the walls. And here's the tricky part. I'm going to split the thick ring of clay on the outside into two using my finger. Once I have my two walls, I'm going to start to lean them into each other until they close up. Hey, look how satisfying that was. I'm just going to clean it up a bit before I take it off the wheel now. And that's going to be Kirby's body, folks. We're going to repeat that until we run out of all the clay we prepared earlier. Now it's time to let these dry a bit in the desert wasteland I call my garage. Our Kirbys are now dry enough that I can pick them up without deforming them. So we're moving on to the next step, which is painting his mouth. I'm using the sassy red and raven black underglazes from Laguna for this, and I'm mixing the two together to get a slightly darker red for the inside of his mouth. This part is super satisfying, but it's also the easy part. Painting his tongue is a little bit more difficult because I can't just use the wheel to paint a circle like the rest of his mouth. And now we're headed back over to the wheel again because I didn't actually plan out the way that I was going to do this. But I think in the future when I do this again, I'll have a much better idea of what order I should do things in. I'm taking a sharp metal tool now to trim off some extra clay and clean up the edges. Then I'm going to flip it over and make sure the bottom is nice and rounded too. And now that all the bodies are nice and cleaned up, we're going to take them back over to the crafting area and we're going to start to attach his limbs. First things first, I took some tiny balls of clay and started rolling them into the shape of his arms. Then I held them against the body just to get an idea of where I wanted to place them, and once I had that set, I took my needle tool and I started to mark the spots where I was going to put them. Sculpting might be my least favorite part of this entire process, but I think it's super worth it for the end result. To attach my pieces, I'm scoring his body and his arms to help them grip to each other. And then I spray a little bit of water, which acts kind of like glue. Using my finger, I'm smoothing out the line where the pieces meet until it's seamless. And then we're just going to repeat those same steps for his feet. And since it's a little harder to reach the foot seam, I'm using the silicone stylus to get all up in there, otherwise his feet could break off later. The last step before the first firing is to get rid of any fingerprints or other scuff marks using a sponge. And in they go to the kiln for the first firing to make them more durable for the glazing process. Hey wait, Kirby, you're supposed to be firing the clay, not the waddle dees. Okay, this is how Kirby looks after the first firing, and we're just gonna start to paint his feet and the rest of his details. I'm adding some white to the red so that I can mix up a pink for his blush. And then I marked where his eyes were gonna go with some black, but I also just thought this was funny. And of course, we can't forget the little blue highlights he has at the bottom of his eyes. And it's time for the finishing touch, the white. This is gonna really bring him to life. And we're finally done with all of the painting. Now it's time to head back over to the kiln where we'll glaze and fire them. I'm gonna be using the same clear glaze that I used for my Animal Crossing pots. And this is my new favorite glaze. It's so good. It's smooth, it's satiny, and super clear. Alright, into the kiln they go to be fired at over 2000 degrees. It takes about a day to reach that temperature and then to cool, so we'll come back in a couple days to check on it. Fingers crossed, I hope nothing explodes. And we're back. Let's crack this bad boy open. I was super anxious before I opened the kiln, but as soon as I saw the Kirbys, I was so happy. They turned out even better than I had imagined. Now how about we get some beauty shots? Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who'd also enjoy this. And if you like ASMR, I'll also be uploading a soothing version of this video without narration, so check it out. I had so much fun working on this, so again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!